Hello, everybody, and welcome to another VeChain Renaissance live stream. Very exciting news today as we've just gone live post-transition period of the Hayabusa upgrade. Major update for VeChain and an exciting time for the VeChain Foundation. I'm Jake, I'm the comms lead at VeChain, and I'm joined here today by Sunny and Rosa. Guys, how are we doing today?
Hey, Jake. Nice to be here. Doing fine. We're really excited for everything that's going on in our ecosystem at the moment.
Yeah, it's been super exciting, but also, quite a journey, not only for the last couple of days during the launch, but also just think about when we get started. It's almost 2 months now. We finished the Galactic upgrade in June, and now here we are, just launched the second phase of VeChain Renaissance, Hayabusa, which is the most important upgrades for the entire VeChain Renaissance.
Yeah,
Amazing.
Big shout out to everyone involved, really.
We were reminiscing the other day about meeting in London, saying all the discussions going on and how this would be an impossible achievement. And yet here we are, we've delivered it with all the parts that we were kind of discussing. And yeah, amazing achievement for the whole team. We'll start from the top. Sunny, could you perhaps enlighten those who are not familiar with what is VeChain Renaissance?
Yeah, actually, we have been saying many times, but it's always nice to remind everybody, do a recap. Why Renaissance, right? First, MICA compliant requirement. As everybody knows, especially in 2025, the regulatory clarity across multiple different main jurisdictions in the world, it's a very good starting point. As we all know, VAT and VTHO get MICA compliant early this year, and also following the VeBetter token get MICA compliant as well. So basically, that's kind of like a first step for the real mass adoption to the mainstream adoptions. So that's sitting on the top of our initiatives. And then following up, I would say the normal job to getting the technical upgrades, like EVM upgrades to the latest version, dynamic gas fees, RPC for easy integration with different partners. And also more importantly, we also got the tokenomics upgrade. Firstly, let's say introducing the incentive-driven tokenomics, which means everybody needs to do some actual contribution, participation, and then you can get a rewards. No more passive VTHO allocation from just holding the VAT. And also we reduce the VTHO issuance quite a bit and increasing the burning mechanism. So simply kind of like burning the candles from both ends, increase the demands, but also short the supplies. Last but not least, also changing the validator staking from 25 million fixed amount of that to be the validator, but from 25 million minimum to be up to 600 million maximum, which will motivate more VT holders to participate in the upgraded consensus and also increasing the staking amount. Also, very small things we discussed. There is a change in terms of the NFT holding comparing with the legacy nodes. Now, in one wallet, you can hold multiple NFTs, could increasing, different type of combination of staking the NFTs to support the different type of validators participating secure the network's security together. And last but not least is about the real decentralization. Basically operating the NFT to be the delegator, supporting the different type of validator, it actually eliminates the technical barriers to participate in protocol level for any kind of people. You don't need to be a technical savvy to understand how to run a nodes, then you can be a validator, could be part of the networks. Basically, you just know how to run NFT and choose a different type of validator. You can be part of the protocol security level. All of that is just basically to getting well prepared for the mass adoptions.
Lots of stuff going on. Rosa, maybe I could pick your brains for a minute, because the NFT approach to staking and securing the network is a very unique thing in the market. How is it kind of trying to build a product that doesn't really exist elsewhere?
Well, in VeChain, or when I talk to Sunny, he always tells me, if no one has done it till now, why shouldn't we do it? Why shouldn't we try? Why shouldn't we explore? So I always take his words here. And when I talk with product team, tech team, we try to build products that actually make a difference. And here comes the NFT model. What we want with it is to give users, a sense of ownership. a value to what they're doing. So what the NFT represents is the value they are staking in the VeChain network. So it represents the amount of VET they're staking, and they actually feel the ownership to it by owning the NFT, which not only allows you an easy delegation to your selected validator with no technical expertise required, but it also gives you more advantages in the ecosystem, like voting in VeChain governance, or also, privileges in the wider VeChain ecosystem, like VeBetter, some other apps. So it's kind of your priority pass in what is the whole VeChain ecosystem.
It's pretty cool. It's kind of like fractional ownership of VeChain Thor in that sense. And something, obviously, we talk about compliance a lot. We've mentioned MICA many times on social media. Like, why is it so important to be ahead of the curve for regulators and adoption, mass adoption?
Well, actually, as a veteran in the crypto world, we have been waiting for the regulation clarity for many, many years, to be honest, right? I remember the first ETF for Bitcoin future was applied in 2013, something like that. And future 8 years later, in 2021, it was approved. Let's say it took quite a lot of effort for us to reach here. But it's very important because that kind of clear up the name of the crypto and the Bitcoin. Unfortunately, people always getting that kind of bad events, impacts coming from the crypto market. Also, it kind of paves the way for mainstream adoption. I mean, the institutions, enterprises, different type of associations, even the governments from the different countries. Blockchain is an amazing tool, is an amazing technology. And how to use that will make major difference. And we believe the Web3 is going to like a Web2 or Web1, like the internet era, to really introducing the great benefits and value to everybody in the world, and eventually change our life in a better way. So the regulation kind of paved this way. It should be the first step. And also the regulation will be just like a technology iteration, needs to be iterating all the way. I'm very confident actually about that because, we, as a human being, we already passed through the internet stages, right? The regulation about the internet, the regulation about the different type of internet platform applications has been running along with the technology involvement as well. So we got to be the same in the blockchain phase, in the crypto world as well. Very importantly, starting from this year, the main jurisdictions like US and Europe, Asia, everywhere having a different type of regulations. And I'm sure jurisdiction will learn from each other's. And eventually, we will have a global standardized or similar like regulations to eventually only do two very simple things: to punish the bad guys and incentivize, motivate the good guys to build the value, build the utility applications in the crypto world.
Absolutely. Yeah. I mean, obviously got the Clarity Act coming up. I think the first time we'll have a proper legal structure for how digital assets can be traded and managed and all that stuff in America. So yeah, exciting times. I think obviously a lot of changes coming, but a legal framework for operation is so critical for adoption. So that's really exciting. A key part of Hayabusa, of course, is the tokenomics adjustments. So not just Hayabusa though, right? So just to take it back one step, obviously with Galactica, we introduced this gas fee market and also the 100% base fee burn for VTHO. So Sunny, maybe you can touch on the specific tokenomic upgrades we've added with Hayabusa, and we can then talk on why they matter.
Yeah, as we just discussed, using the NFT, that's we were the first one to try that, to allow the normal people to participating into the protocol level. The purpose of doing that is enable the real decentralization for everybody can be part of it. And specifically for every user, you can stake your VAT into a smart contract, and then you can mint out the different level of NFT based on different amount of VAT you staked in the smart contract, and you can operate the NFT to participating, the protocol level or consensus level, and you can choose a different type of validator to do your delegation job, and you gain the rewards directly. And every cycle, you can choose different type of validator based on the actual APY in the last cycle, and you make your best optimization to maximize your rewards. So they will enable the active participation for every community members who really believe in VeChain, also believe in our long-term value building. Like Rosa said, you are the owner of the entire VeChain blockchain as well. And also the dynamic gas fees, it's basically introducing the flexibility in terms of gas fee you're proposing to guarantee your transactions over the networks. Based on the network congestion situation, you might experience either low or high gas fees you have to pay. So basically, that's kind of, very simple to say, more transaction demands more applications running over the blockchain. That means the gas fee could be higher. That kind of gives the challenge to all of the builders, application owners. You got to optimize your application, how to, let's say, interact with the blockchain, find out the schedule of the transactions. Actually, as I know, some of the enterprise have been adjusting that following the Galactica phase. And last but not least, like I mentioned, reduce the VeChain output based on the current status. We have roughly 9 to 10 billion total VET staking. It means the VeChain issuance, it kind of fitting at 50-something% of today's level. So that means we cut, starting from more than 40% of the cut of the VeChain issuance as before. So it will, let's say, concentrate, shorting the supply of the VeChain will, definitely be better to the value of the VeChain and eventually to the value of the VET as well.
Yeah, I think there's a few key points to dissect in here, like around why and how we change VeChain, right? Like one big challenge was obviously you had VET tokens generating VeChain, and those could be anywhere on the network, or in exchanges. I mean, one of the key challenges we had was around VET on Binance or wherever, just generating the supply that will never go into circulation. So I think the first challenge was, how do we address that side of inflation? And obviously StarGate, which we'll get into, the kind of rationale here is, by you becoming an active participant and staking your VET, you are now the sole generator of VeChain. So we managed to solve a really nice problem in one fell swoop, which is reduce idle VeChain generated in exchanges.
Actually, I think the most of the VeChain held by the exchanges, let's say, you cannot be considered as the supply in the market.
That's a good point.
Because sitting there doing nothing, right? And cannot be moved, it cannot be, touched.
It's like de facto burned.
Yeah, so this kind of the change, firstly, it is give the real incentive to people, to the holders who are really doing the participation, contribution to secure the networks. Secondly, it kind of address that kind of the concerns from those exchange partners.
And I think another angle as well is aligning stakeholder needs. Obviously VeChain has a great economic model where we can deliver X amount of transactions very cheaply, but then in this old model, obviously the validators didn't necessarily get a kind of from the VeChain generated. There was a mismatch, let's say, of economic desires, where you want cheap transactions, but cheap transactions don't necessarily yield the best rewards. So obviously the new StarGate approach solves both challenges, where now you get a massively boosted rewards pool for a dedicated pool of people that are contributing. Meanwhile, you maintain the cost flexibility, the low cost transactions, all that good stuff. Rose, I don't know if you got any comments on that. Obviously you have built the backbone of this new environment. Like how, I don't know if you've got any anything you want to weigh in on that.
Yeah, no, I mean, the only thing I can add is that here what we try to do is to find the right balance between everything that you and Sunny have already mentioned. And, after a lot of the discussions, workshop, talking, we found that this solution could be ideal to actually find the balance that we were talking about. So we see it now in action. We are live with Hayabusa only from a week or so, and we already see the impact that this solution is having. So it's great to see already the effects so shortly.
Before we go into the StarGate, I wanted to talk on this new dynamic that's now in play, which is this kind of economic flywheel, because we've obviously got the VET VeChain model. You've got VET generates VeChain, there's demand for VeChain for transactions, but now we've added in the VeBetter ecosystem and this kind of B2C kind of environment where you're gaining adoption, like a scaling level of adoption through VeBetter. So Sunny, maybe you could talk about how the Better token complements the VET VeChain dynamic and why why we built that.
Yeah, well, I mean, the VeBetter token actually is both incentive token and a governance token in the format of Vault in the VeBetter.com ecosystem. So basically, kind of, let's say, it represents the applications in the VeChain ecosystem which are generating massive transactions. Actually, from the data we know, VeBetter now is, along with all of the 50 plus applications, are the biggest donor of the transactions on the VeChain blockchain. And some of the days already passed like multiple times, past the 1 million transactions per day. And we can see the dramatic increase coming from, well, also not only from VeBetter.com, but also some of the new enterprise users like Lululemon or other 2Chain users as well. But generally speaking, the Better token or the VeBetter ecosystem are representing the applications generating the transactions, right? Which kind of increase the demands of the VeSor as a gas fee to pay for the transactions, which definitely will increase the value of the VeSor. Also, on the same time, you're holding the VET to get the rewards, or you stake the VET to be the delegator or validator, and then you can get the rewards as the VeSor. It kind of like, let's say, more higher value of VeSor or high demands of VeSor will also driving the high demands of the VET. And eventually will drive the staking amount of the VET as the total staking over the networks, right? Actually, previously, before the Hayabusa upgrades, the minimum, or let's say the technical locking requirement for VET staking is just 2.525 billion total. That's basically the minimum requirement for be a validator, right? 25 million each and 101 nodes. But now we can see more than 9 billion, almost 10 billion VET staked, and also participating in the network of security, right? Running the consensus. We can see the clear demands also. More people are asking the question, looking for the staking, participating in that, because you're not going to receive any VeSor rewards just holding the VET. You got to be the delegator. You got to be the validator also. And then you can get the rewards. So basically, we can see the clear trends. More and more people are going to stake the VAT, driving the total staking value, staking amount of VAT as well. And it kind of shocked the supply of the market, and definitely going to be beneficial to the value of the VET as well.
Yes, it's this multifaceted approach where, with Galactica, you've put the gas fee market in, VTHO burn goes up, 100% fee burns. And then obviously this new dynamic of reduced inflation, greater rewards, more transaction volume. It's like you can see how we're trying to kind of fine tune the economics of the network to make it work better for people.
Yeah, I forgot to even mention, there was also a small feature introduced in the Galactica phase. It's actually we changed the burning mechanism to be 100% of transaction fees will be burned. So more transactions over the blockchain, over the VeChain blockchain, that means more VeSor will be burned.
Awesome stuff. Rosa, you got any comments? I think we've gone right through the tokenomics.
No, you guys mentioned everything. I mean, just from my perspective as, a product manager in VeChain, I start to notice these changes also in the products that I built. And I think, like me, also every other builder, if you're running an app, you're running it on the VeChain Tour blockchain, and you need VTHO for your gas fees, you want to own VET, and you want to stake the VET in order to generate the VTHO to actually run your product. And I think this is for everyone actually building on VeChain, and it will definitely make a big impact overall.
Well, I think it's a very attractive model for all kinds of users, whether they're devs or businesses. You buy a stake and you generate your transaction fees ongoing, rather than having to continuously pay for gas like with most other blockchains. So yeah, I think it's a great model. It's one of the first things that caught my attention about VeChain, and obviously saw that in action several years ago, having to manage the gas fees. So proof in the pudding, as they say in the UK. All right, moving on. we've got another piece of this pie to share, which is the StarGate platform, which is another monumental achievement. 2 massive upgrades arriving together, and obviously Rosa here was leading that effort. So Rosa, I'll pass the mic over to you. Maybe you can just tell us what is StarGate. Give us a high-level overview.
I hope everyone listening to this live know what StarGate is by now. You don't want to miss it. It's a VeChain next generation staking platform. It's basically the interface for delegators to get their NFT, stake their VET, and pick their validator to start their delegation and start earning VTHO rewards for their staked VET. So this is what StarGate mainly does. It also serves another function, which is endorsing validators. So for all endorsers who own VET and want to, QA validator and add it to the, let's say, list of active validators, they can also do that through StarGate. So let's say that it's our platform for our end users where they can interact with our technology without feeling any technical barrier in doing so.
I wanted to add a little bit on top of Rosa. Actually, it also serves the easy interface for validators. I know if you are technical enough, you can run a validator by yourself, everything. But through some of our community partners or institutional partners like VeChain and readiness, and if you are acting as an endorser of the validator, you can also go through the StarGate to configure, to use that kind of service provider to do the validator directly.
We mentioned the word delegator a lot. It may confuse people, but actually we've got the definition here. The consensus mechanism itself is delegated proof of stake. Essentially, you have your stake, you're delegating it, aka you're pointing it at a validator or a block producer. So that's where the term comes from. But Rosa, I'll let you lead through these other points here.
What changes with StarGate after Hayabusa? So compared to the bootstrapping phase, what happens now is that StarGate, it's fully integrated with the protocol. So there's a full protocol level integration. That means that when a delegator selects a validator and delegates to it, that stake it's actually assigned to a validator, and the delegator will get block rewards from the blocks that the validator produces.
Essentially, now we have mining on VeChain, essentially, right?
Well, sort of. Maybe mining is not the most correct term, but what happens is that for every block produced from a validator, a share of those rewards go to the delegators. That's the basic flow. Of course, the delegator won't notice any of this, technicalities happening in the background. They'll just see their VET staked and their rewards generated that they can claim at the end of each validator cycle. Because whenever a NFT holder delegates to a validator, let's remember they're tying to his cycle. So at the end of each validator cycle, delegators can claim the rewards for the blocks produced. New tokenomics, I think Sunny has covered everything around this. So of course, VTHO generation only for NFTs which are actively delegated. Just a reminder here to point it out, if you stake your VET and you get your NFT, you're not generating rewards. To generate the VTHO rewards, you need to delegate your NFT to your selected validator.
Let's talk about the node tiers.
These are the node tiers we also saw during the bootstrapping phase. We'll cover them again. As we know, VeChain has 2 tiers of nodes. One is the economic nodes and one is the X nodes. Economic nodes start with a DON, which is very accessible to everyone. What we wanted to do with introducing some new nodes before the bootstrapping phase is making staking on VeChain accessible to everyone. So here comes the DON node, which is the entry level for anyone who's curious and wants to try what it means to be part of the VeChain ecosystem. And then we go up until we arrive to the X nodes, which actually can no longer be minted. These were issued back in 2018, I guess. Sunny, correct me if I'm wrong.
OG nodes. June 30th, 2018.
These can no longer be minted on StarGate, but they can be bought on the secondary market. We have a VeChain marketplace that handles buying and selling of X nodes, but it can be done through any other VeChain compatible marketplace. With the node tiers, we kind of want to give the opportunity to everyone from early participants in VeChain to long-time supporters of VeChain, the possibility of participating. It's really for everyone.
We can just touch on the reward weighting as well, how this feeds in, because this is an important mechanic of how validators earn rewards and how delegators also get rewarded. So what does reward weight mean? And how does that feed into how a validator produces blocks?
Let's say that every node tier earns rewards based on how much they're worth. So the bigger your NFT, so the bigger the VET you have staked behind it, the higher rewards weight you will earn. That means the biggest share of the block rewards of the validators you will earn. What also happens is that the more NFTs are delegated to a validator, the more probability there will be for that validator of actually validating the block, and therefore you as a delegator earning a share of the block rewards. So this is what changes with the various reward tiers. The higher your NFT level, the higher is the percentage of rewards you gain, and the chance of your validator to produce the blocks, to be assigned the blocks to produce.
There is actually a technology terms we call effective staking. So basically, when we calculate, from the consensus level, when we calculate the probability for each validator, including the delegator who are supporting those validators, is actually based on also the different weights between the validator staking and delegator staking. So the total amount of effective staking will decides the probability of mining a block, next block of each validator, and which also introducing, impacting, let's say, the rewards you're getting. So simply to say, higher level of NFT, you will make the validator you're supporting higher chance to mine the blocks, and also you can getting the higher rewards sharing with other delegators who are delegating the same validator.
Yeah, and I think it introduces really interesting mechanics, this weighted staking validator component as well, right? You've suddenly introduced game theory into the validator model, where like you're almost vying for people's stake. Validators, now for probably the first time really, will become public entities, public figures. You'll be able to see their names, their bios, and essentially they'll want to earn your trust, earn your stake, because there is a benefit to doing that. So a really interesting new dynamic at the heart of the network, which I think is pretty cool from my perspective as an OG. Sunny, I don't know if you any thoughts on that?
I'm not only holding the delegators, but also I wanted to participating as a validators as well. So these couple of days I've been busy to organize my VAT everywhere, and I try to operating the delegators. I'm still halfway to go, but also I'm preparing my validators. Hopefully everybody, I would disclose my validator, and hopefully everybody can delegate me, and we can secure the network together.
I'll be the first one, I promise, delegating to Sunny's validator.
Yeah, actually, I come up with a name from one of my team. It called the first my node is called Sunny Side Up. I hope everybody likes that.
I love that.
That's cool.
That's every day. Yeah, we've just finished the transition phase. Maybe we can talk about the bootstrapping phase so far. So just go over some high-level numbers of the achievements to date.
So far, by the end of the bootstrapping phase, there are total supplies of delegator NFTs more than 15,000, representing 6.9 billion staked by the delegator. So plus 2.5 as minimum, at the end of the bootstrapping phase from the validator. So roughly 9.2, 9.3 billion total staking, which indicating like the total VTHO generation will be reduced to more than 40% at today's level. Pretty good starting point. And let's say we're looking for more delegators and also more staking from the validators as well.
As I was saying earlier, we're just, 1 week from the beginning of transition phase. We just went, live with everything, and the numbers are already very positive. It shows, the big impact in such a short time, that this big change that we did, how much it impacted everything in the ecosystem.
And for anyone who has not yet joined, because obviously we've still got maybe 1,000 or so nodes that haven't quite migrated. So what do they do? What do they need to know? Is there a cutoff? What should they be aware of at this point?
I'm very passionate about all legacy node holders, having worked on the rewards platform when I early joined VeChain like 2.5 years ago. It's crazy. So for any legacy node holder out there, migrate to StarGate. It's very easy, very seamless. Again, we don't want it to make this technically difficult or any weird process. It's very easy. You just need to connect your wallet to StarGate. Once you have done that, StarGate will show in the dashboard your legacy node, all you need to do is click on it, and then the migration flow will start. You'll basically see your legacy node next to your new StarGate node. You see that, you press on continue button, and what happens is you select your validator at that point, and you just confirm. So what you do in one single step, so in one transaction, is migrate your node by burning the legacy node and minting the new one, and also selecting your validator to immediately enter the delegation. So it's very easy. You'll see your NFT on your dashboard, you click on it, you pick your validator, and you confirm you're done with it. It's just one click, but it allows you to, continue generating VTHO rewards. Up to now, if you're a legacy node holder and you haven't migrated yet, you are no longer generating VTHO rewards. So if you want to continue generating them, you need to proceed with the migration. We will allow migration for forever, let's say. We are never gonna stop legacy node holders to migrate to StarGate. So even in 1 year, 2 years, anyone with a legacy node will always be able to migrate to StarGate. But what I want to highlight is that the rewards platform in around 3-4 months will shut down. So I invite every legacy node holder to go to the rewards platform and claim any pending rewards they have there and migrate to StarGate to not miss any other rewards from now on.
Yeah, that's an important note. If you got any friends with nodes that are sitting around riding out the market right now, get them into action.
You have this staking nodes and you're not generating rewards. It's very pity for this. So we invite everyone to do so. And if they have any troubles, I mean, we have our support portal always up and they can ask for help.
Always support on standby. Got a great dedicated function there. And then conversely, what if they're an existing node holder?
Easy and simple here. If you already own an NFT, maybe you have already migrated your legacy node, or you just bought a new NFT on StarGate during the bootstrapping phase. First of all, at the end of the bootstrapping phase, all unclaimed rewards that you might have had have been automatically claimed. So you will already find all your rewards in your wallet. What you need to do to continue earning rewards now is delegate your NFT to an active or queued network validator. It's very easy. Again, you just need to log in StarGate with your wallet holding the NFT. You will see your NFTs in your portfolio. You click on the delegate button and it will open for you a page where you will see a pre-assigned validator. That's just one of the validators we are suggesting you to delegate to, but that's not mandatory. You can change it directly from that page. You'll see a list of the validators, all the 101 validators. Pick your desired one and just click on delegate. So again, it's one page and one click from bringing you to having VET staked and an NFT to being an active participant of the network and delegate to a validator. One thing to note, again, just a highlight, is that your delegation will become active once the next cycle of your chosen validator starts. Just as a highlight here. Very simple. We wanted to make the experience flawless for the users. So you click on your NFT, you select your validator, and you click on delegate, and the job is done.
Bing, bang, bong. Now the third party, let's say, what if you're completely new to it? You've got no node. What do I do? Where do I start?
Well, this is exciting because we'll now introduce a brand new feature to StarGate, which is Boost. But I'll go one step at a time. If you're new to this, where do you start? First of all, download vWorld wallet and make sure you have VET in your vWorld wallet. Then you can visit StarGate platform. Again, you just connect your wallet, your vWorld wallet, and you can start a new stake. It's a one big call to action, one big purple button to start your stake. And what you do is you can choose your NFT level between all the tiers that we saw before, based on how much you are willing to stake. After that, you select your NFT. We have two possible options here. One option is that you stake and you get your NFT, which is now in maturity period. And before you can delegate it, you need to wait for your maturity period to finish. So you just stake, get the NFT, wait for maturity to be completed, come back to StarGate and delegate to a validator. But we decided to make this flow even simpler and also funnier with the new Boost feature. So what users can do now, if any one of you is new into this and you want to start earning rewards immediately without having to wait for the maturity period, you can actually do so by using our boost feature. What happens is that you can completely skip the maturity, so the waiting time that separates you from generating the VTHO rewards. The maturity can be skipped in, it's one simple toggle that the user needs to press on. The flow is the same. You start a new stake, you select your NFT, you select the maturity boost, and you select immediately your validator. So in one step, thanks to the boost feature, you're staking, receiving your NFT, skipping the maturity, and delegating. That allows you to go from 0 to 100, so from staking that to delegating to a validator in one step only. And I think this kind of removes a entry barrier of many users that want to stake their VET and be part of the ecosystem without having to wait.
And also, actually, at the very, very start, download VWorld, and the team have added a very nice, handy little earn button. So you don't even have to look too hard for where is StarGate in the app, in the VWorld. It's now just earn, bang, connect wallet, and follow the steps, as Rosa said. So nice and simple, nice and simple. We've been talking a lot about nodes and rewards. Maybe we could dive into the actual reward structure. So what might people expect?
Rewards structure, we've talked a little bit before with you and Sunny about weighted rewards and everything around it. So just a few other points we can mention here is how the rewards are distributed between validators and delegators. Again, to point out, validators will get 100% priority fees, of course, for the blocks they produce, but the block reward itself will be split up. 30% of block rewards go to the validator, while 70% are distributed among the delegators of that specific validator. One other thing we can point out is that rare cases where a validator has no delegators, he will earn 100% of block rewards, but the possibility of that validator to produce blocks will be significantly lower. So that's why for every validator, as we were saying before, the more the delegators you have, the more the possibility of you producing a blocks and therefore earning the rewards for both parties. Users' rewards instead are calculated based on their share of all the delegations of that particular validator. So the calculation is very simple. A user's total rewards are their share times the 70% of validator rewards for the specific cycle. So again, rewards are for specific cycles.
Yeah, I think it adds interesting strategic plays. Like, do you want to go for the higher, the validator with a higher weighted stake, which might get more rewards, but there's more people? Or do you want to, try and go for the moonshot of validators, which has fewer delegators, but a bigger reward potential? I mean, it's an interesting new dynamic at play.
It's a really interesting new dynamic, and again, everything changes also based on the NFT you own and which NFTs are delegated to specific validators. So I think here strategies are basically endless of how you want to play the game. This is very positive because we give a lot of flexibility to the users of how they prefer to manage their stakes. And this is definitely a big plus for the whole ecosystem. What affects the reward amount generally? Again, it's the amount of VET staked. So the more VET a user has staked, the bigger their staking position, the higher amount of rewards they will earn. It is also affected by the NFT level and tier, which reflects, as we were saying, the amount of VET staked. What affects the rewards is how big of a player you are in the game, the NFT you own, and how many delegators are active with your validator, and of course, how many blocks your validator is producing. So their possibility or probability of producing the blocks. It's a team game, basically. What I like to say here is that it's, as in VeChain, we're big team players. We like to consider this a team game as well. It's a game from both the delegators and the validators. The overall result is affected by both.
It really embodies the spirit of what Web3 is supposed to be as well, which is like communities working together, even, decentralized. They never touch each other, they never speak to each other. They may not even know each other, but there's this kind of coming together through technology this mutual kind of benefit scenario where, you know, the more kind of you engage in this world, the more kind of reward you can get. It's a very interesting dynamic, I think, Web3 and blockchains and where we're going. And obviously VeChain's really taken a bold step towards being more, even more towards the community, more power to the community, more rewards to people. Like this X to earn ethos that we introduced with VeBetter really is now at the core of the blockchain. Like the more you get engaged, the more effort you make, the more you get back. So I think that really speaks to what crypto is all about, really, which is pretty damn cool.
I think what makes a difference here is the collective effort. As for VeBetter, as for StarGate, as for anything we try to build with our products in VeChain, collective effort is always the key for success.
And also a small tips to every delegator. Still, I mean, even with the auto renewed function enabled, you don't need to, once you delegate to some validator, you don't need to do anything change. But still, it's better to check like at least once a week, you know, to see like the availability, or maybe you wanted to switch to other validator looking for a higher APY or something. So check once a week, and also, you know, feel good about claiming your rewards.
Let me add one thing here, Sunny. I just remembered about something new that actually we introduced also with the launch of StarGate, which is a notification system. I want to invite everyone to actually turn on their vWorld notifications, because if there's any changes in your stake, in your delegation, in your validator, we will notify you through vWorld. So that's a big plus.
That's very good.
I'm guilty of notifications up, but vWorld is one of the ones I do keep on for that exact reason.
You better do, Jake. You better do.
Let's move on to the validators then. So obviously we've talked about them. They're the backbone of the network. They produce blocks. They secure the blockchain. There's 101 of them. For a long time, they've been semi-mysterious actors. But now, of course, we're bringing forth this new dynamic where you can interact with them. They'll have online bios, they'll have they'll have personalities, and you'll know who they are, at least whoever wants to put themselves forward. So Rosa, maybe you can speak to what is a validator, what's the economic requirements, all that good stuff. What does it mean to be a validator?
Oh yeah, so validators are active participants of the VeChain Tour network. As we know, they actively produce the blocks on our network. Anyone can really apply to become a validator with Hayabusa with the launch of StarGate. So we're removing a big barrier here, a big limit, as Sunny was mentioning at the beginning when we started our conversation. So anyone can become a validator as long as they meet two basic requirements. One is technical, one is economic. Technical requirement meaning they need to have a node running fully synced with the network. Economic requirement is they need to own a minimum of 25 million VET, up to 600 million VET. What happens now is that a validator can be both the node operator and the asset owner, so the endorser, or the two can be separate entities. So I can both run the node and endorse my node and be, an active validator. Or as an example, Jake, you could be running the node and I could be the person owning the money and endorsing the machine. So that makes easy for everyone, even for users who maybe don't have the technical knowledge of running a machine, to be able to become validators. And for this, I can tell you more after. We have some ecosystem projects like Validator-as-a-service, so service providers that can run validators for you, and you can be the one endorsing the machines and staking the VET.
And also, let's say you can feel safer when you are assets owner as an endorser. You don't need to give away your assets to, let's say, staking service provider. You can, based on the deals you are having with the node operator, like how to share the rewards, either 20, 80%, 30, 70%, doesn't matter, based on what you discussed with your service provider. And also the beneficiary address could be pointed as a new one, or even an address of the smart contract based on the agreement between the endorser and the node operator. It's very flexible. Lots of the options for endorser and node operator feel safe about doing the actual work and getting the rewards as discussed or as negotiated.
So obviously we've got our service providers and we've got the node operators. There's kind of two different categories here.
I know lots of the community members always asking for the validators, like the identity of the validators. But honestly, not everybody, feel comfortable to disclose. I remember even the Michael Saylor was responding the similar message to whoever want him or request him to let's say disclose his Bitcoin address. Right, it's linked to the privacy, linked to the security, possible technical attacks as well. So, and especially some of our enterprise users, it kind of reveals some of the business confidentiality information, like how many products they're loading, the contracts, or even there is no direct information, but people could guess or could interpret it from the transactions coming from the smart contracts and everything. Again, we're going to leave to every validator to decide if they wanted to disclose or not. But actually, I just list up some of them, let's say, agreed to disclose. Marrier and BitGo, they're like Validator-as-a-service majorly for the institutional clients. And the Kirok setting up validators directly, and Readiness is coming from the community, let's say serving the big whales from the community to run as a node service operators for different type of people as well. And also there is a long-time supporter, Funbusher Capital and Dripper Capital, Dripper Venture. They have been, supporting us as an initial investor since 2017, and has been riding along with us all the journey. And now they're just onboarding us, the validators as well, and continue looking for the success of the VeChain network or VeChain ecosystem as well.
Yeah, and shout out to the BetterSwap team. Obviously, their kind of community representation there as well. And again, I think this is where an interesting new dynamic comes in when you make this public permissionless validator environment. Like you can have communities, you can have celebrities, you could have institutions. You create a new smorgasbord of people that can bring their own communities, attract new stakeholders, new builders. All of a sudden you create a new way to grow the network as well. If you're a KOL, you can bring your community in, and all of a sudden there could be a million new eyes on VeChain, and that may or may not be in the pipeline. We'll see what happens.
And also, last but not least, the more to come for sure. There might be some exchanges, some custodian partners who are willing to, let's say, providing that kind of a staking service. Then they can join with the community members to setting up, multiple different validators, secure the network, earning the rewards together.
So yeah, most importantly, obviously the tokenomics, we kind of touched on this, but we've done this for stakeholders mostly, right? So how are VET holders benefiting from Hayabusa? Maybe we can make a summary.
Well, the first benefit is the simplicity in accessing the rewards. The simplicity, but still with an active participation. People are benefiting from this as they have now an easy way of participating in the network and earning rewards. So it's instead of having to figure out how to participate or being able to earn rewards without actively contributing, we're here putting together two things, which is the simplicity of being part of what we're doing, so being active, and at the same time the rewards you earn for doing so. I think that is the key of how the end user, at least any StarGate user, delegator, this is their key. I'd say this is our key advantage with them, giving a easy flow of being active in a network and being rewarded for doing so.
We can just have a few key summaries in terms of changes, especially to the community members. Number one, I would say less VTHO issuance. And also the issuance will be dynamic, correlated to total VET staking. And starting from, as today's level is about 50, 54, 55%. So pretty good reduction. Number two, delegator plays the actual role in the protocol level and earn the rewards directly. So as long as you know how to operate the NFT, you play the actual role. You are the owner. You are one of the owners of the VeChain blockchain networks. You earn the rewards respectfully. And number three, no more VTHO distributed to the passive holders. So that means all of the rewards only go to validators and delegators. So if you want to get the rewards, you got to choose one, or you can do both, like me. Number four, I would say the validator staking will be enlarged from 25 million fixed to be 25 million to 600 million. And also even one single wallet could holding multiple different delegator NFTs will definitely drive up the total VET staking over the networks. And last but not least, go to StarGate. Whatever you are the validator or you're the delegator, you can find easy access. Check about the total situation, network staking, total TVL of the VeChain blockchain, and operate based on your wishes. Try to maximize your rewards, find your favorable validators to delegate, and enjoy the ecosystem growth.
With that nice flywheel effect we discussed earlier. I mean, that's a big one, isn't it? Hayabusa feeds the flywheel. It fine-tunes the motor that drives the economics. Better VTHO and VET all coming together in perfect harmony.
Yeah, let's say that with the new changes, if either you are a small player in the ecosystem or a big player in the ecosystem, you no longer have excuses to participate, as we really made it available for everyone.
And obviously this feeds into a bigger picture, which is around mass adoption. So how are we unlocking scaled adoption with Hayabusa?
Hayabusa basically just, let's say, like I said, firstly, enable the real decentralization. Everybody can be playing the different role, like Rosa mentioned a couple of times. Now you are the owner. It's not just a validator. Even you are just no delegator NFT holder, you're also the owner. So let's say the fate of VeChain Soul blockchain is not only in the foundation hands, but actually in every community member's hands as well. So the power is in your hand, and let's build the ecosystem together. Let's grow the ecosystem together. And also on the other side is more compliant, like I mentioned in the beginning. The number one is MICA compliant. So make us more compliant, more suitable to the compliance, not only in Europe, but actually I believe everywhere in the world. So that kind of sweep out, let's say, any kind of barriers, open up the way, pave the way for mass adoptions, for mainstream adoptions. And then, it's really just about building the applications, onboard the users, even especially enable the Web2 users for the real mass adoptions. So it is a very key upgrades from the protocol level, but serving the purpose for the real massive adoptions. As our vision, we never changed from the day one.
Yeah, because if I'm not mistaken, isn't a network has to be a certain level of decentralized, right? So having this consensus model that we now have, we can basically demonstrate that, okay, the foundation manages tech tools, builds products, blah, 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 but the actual network is now
needs to be decentralized as much as we can.
Yeah, so obviously that allows us now to fit into the US, and MICA, of course, getting accepted by MICA basically says a big stamp. VeChain is decentralized, in the way that we need it to be. So key step, obviously, for mass adoption.
Again, if anyone has questions or doubts or want to know more, is just curious, they can always, get in touch with us over X or socials or through support channels. We're always happy to chat and, involve everyone in what we're doing. We love conversations, as you can see from our chats.
Yeah, and Absolutely. New Metro was just, revealing after the Hayabusa launch. So stay tuned.
Well, here's a final call to action. Delegate your node now, app.stargate.vchain.org. That's where you'll be able to delegate to a validator, start earning rewards. Look forward to Interstellar, the final phase of VeChain Renaissance that will be coming up in 2026, although I know the work is already well underway. We're not just starting that. I know Neil Brett, who's leading that side of things, shout out Neil, already deep in the weeds of working that out with his team. So
yeah, let's say all the tech work was done a while back, as then we had to go through all the audits and checks and security. So
deliverables in 2025 for the VeChain technical team and also product team and every other team as well. We had the 2 hard forks. We had keep iteration of the VeBetter.com, onboarding the institutions. So yeah, it's a lot deliverables. Honestly,
never a dull day.
Very proud of it. Feel very happy and just keep going.
No, amazing stuff. Never a dull day at VeChain. That's for sure. Thank you both for your time. Sunny, appreciate you taking time for your busy schedule. Rosa, congrats on the launch. You and your team have done a phenomenal job. And yeah, a new era has landed on VeChain. So very exciting stuff. Congratulations, everybody.
Take care, guys.
Thank you, everyone. It was a pleasure.
Bye, everyone.